Hello pre-primaries. Today we're going to do some writing and you're going to have a go at doing independent writing after I've modelled writing to you, and we're going to look at a moment in time. So I'm thinking about a situation that happened to me a little while ago. I was given a wedding cake to look after and the cake was 3 tiers high, so it was a massive cake, and I was really scared about ruining the cake, so I decided to put it in a room. So I put it in the room and I left the room and I went and did some other jobs, and then I came back and I thought something looked a bit different about the cake. When I looked at it, there was teeny tiny ants all over the cake. Well, I started to panic. So I grabbed a bike pump because there was one near the counter. So I grabbed it and I was puffing and my face went red, but that didn't get the ants off. So then I thought, okay, I need to grab something else. And I thought about the vacuum cleaner. So I grabbed the vacuum cleaner and I started trying to suck the ants off, but the ants just went flying everywhere and the cake went everywhere. There was bits of icing on the ceiling and it was just crazy. There was a big mess everywhere. So the cake got a little bit ruined. And I thought that this would be a good start for my writing today because it's a bit of a funny story now that I can remember it. So what I thought was, is I'm going to pick a part of that story that I like to write about. I won't talk about the whole thing. I'm going to choose a little section and I'm going to focus on the bit when the ants were going everywhere. So I'm going to do a plan for you and then we're going to have a go at writing it and see how we go. So I think because I want to talk about the cake, I'm just going to do a quick plan. Remember, the plan isn't a drawing, it's a sketch. So it doesn't have to be perfect, and we're going to label it. So that's the cake. And then I think what I want to talk about is the vacuum cleaner part, because that bit was funny when I saw all these ants flying in the air. It was quite funny. So this is, remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not the best drawer. The vacuum. And then obviously the most important part is those tiny ants that just went everywhere. They were all over the place with the icing. Okay, so then that's my ants. Okay, so I've got my ideas in my head and now I can start thinking about what I want to write. And I think I'm going to start with, I turned the vacuum cleaner on, because that's the part that I did before the ants went flying everywhere. So I've got that sentence in my head and I'm going to write, I turned the vacuum cleaner on. So I need to start with my capital letter. I turned, I could write switched. So I'm going to recraft that and use switched, because I use a switch to turn mine on. I switched. Now, I'm going to use my chart because I've forgotten which sound ch is, and it's definitely not cl because that's claw. So it's ch for chicken. Switch. I switched. I switched my vacuum, and I already have that spelling up there so I can copy from my plan. My vacuum cleaner, and now I need to go underneath on. Okay, so that's full stop. Let's just check. I switched my vacuum cleaner on. I'm just making sure it makes sense. Okay, so the next part I think I want to talk about is the noise that it all made, because it made a swoosh through the air, and I feel like that's going to make my writing a little bit more exciting. I want my readers to picture all those ants and the noise that it made, and it was swoosh. So I think I'm going to write that in capital letters so that my readers know that you can say that bit loudly. So I'm going to start with my capital letter. And again, I'm going to check my chart, and I think it's for shark. swoosh. I'm going to use an exclamation mark because that also adds to the drama and the excitement. So I'm going to put a big exclamation mark. And then I want to talk about, so we've turned the vacuum cleaner on and I went swoosh, but I need to talk about the ants. Otherwise my readers aren't going to know that ants were in my story. So I'm going to write something like the ants went flying. The ants went flying in the air, or off in the air. The ants went flying. So I'm recrafting my sentence as I go. The ants went flying in the air. I think that sounds really good. So I switched my vacuum cleaner on, swoosh. The ants, now I need a capital letter, and I know the because I've memorized it in my head, T-H-E. So I've just learned that one off by heart because it's a tricky word to spell. The ants, I'm remembering my finger spaces, pre-primaries. The ants. I'm really stretching my words out. The ants went. The ants went. My next word, went flying. Oh, so again, that's a blended sound. F and l make fl. Flying. Flying. In the, and again, I'm not using a capital letter this time because it's not at the beginning of a sentence. The ants went flying in the air. Oh, now that's a tricky one. I'm going to write it as I think it is, but I'm going to underline it to check it later because I like to make sure that I'm not stopping to check spellings, but if I'm not sure about something, I can underline it and check it later. Okay, so I'm going to read that again. The ants went flying in the air. Yep, that's the end of my sentence, so I can put a full stop. I switched my vacuum cleaner on. Swoosh! The ants went flying in the air. Okay, I think I'm really happy with my writing and what I've created. So what I want you to do now is think of an idea to write about. Okay, and it might be on something completely different, but it might be about something funny that happened to you, or maybe a mess that happened. And then I would like you to have a go at writing it. And if you can, post it to Seesaw and I will have a little look and I can comment on your writing. Now parents, remember that when they do modelled writing, they have a go on their own. They read it back to you and you make a comment or a message back to them about their message of their writing, and then write the correct sentence underneath. Okay, we don't want to be editing their work. We want to just write it underneath for them to read back to you. And you can look at their goals as well and tick off the things that they have achieved. Things that we are working on in pre-primary are things like finger spaces, just even having a go at writing on a topic, writing about something they know, using letters, maybe even having a go at words like my and on and the. Those are all the things that we will be looking for. So good luck, and I can't wait to see your writing pre-primaries.